And welcome to Family Life Today. Thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition. And if you're single, or if you know someone who is, and if you've ever thought, gee, I wonder if I'll get married, I wonder what it takes to make a marriage work. Well, we got a guy who's got the answers for you to that question.
A straight shooter.
Oh, man.
He's a great friend of this ministry. His name is Tommy Nelson. He's the senior pastor at Denton Bible Church in Denton, Texas.
I got to tell you, I've been listening to his tapes on Ecclesiastes. He taught through the book of Ecclesiastes, and I was teaching through it in Sunday school, and so I was listening to his tapes as part of my study to get ready for my Sunday school class, and he just tells it like it is. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't mince words. He's just an old Texas boy from Waco, Texas, who just kind of says it plain and moves on.
He does, and he's a man after my own heart. He had an opportunity to speak to a number of collegians, over 2,000. And Bob, if I was given the same shot to speak at 2,000 collegians, I would pick the same topic. How do you decide who you marry? 5 guidelines for a successful marriage. And over the next couple of days, you're going to get a chance to listen in to this straight shooter from Texas. Mm-hmm. So call a single friend that you may know of and tell them to tune in to Family Life Today.
Yeah, right now. Call them and tell them, turn on the radio right now. You need to listen to this.
Tell them to listen to Tommy Nelson and what he talks about how to select a spouse and these 5 guidelines for a successful marriage. In fact, here's what folks ought to do. If you know of someone who doesn't go to church, a single young man, maybe it's a brother, a sister, a nephew, a niece, somebody at work, pick up your cell phone and call them right now. Say, hey, listen to Family Life Today. They got a guy who's a straight shooter who is going to be sharing 5 guidelines for a successful marriage. I'm going to tell you something. All singles are interested in this. Mm-hmm. And even those who are outside the church and may not have a relationship with Christ, well, this is one way we can kind of ease them toward God and His plan for their lives. Let's listen to Tommy Nelson.
Well, I am delighted to be here with you. I truly am. What do you share with a couple of 1,000 collegians? You got one shot at them. I've raised 2 boys. One now is 25. The other is about 23. What would I have wanted someone to share with them when they were at University of Kansas at Southwest Texas State University? Marriage. Being loved, romance, passion, affection. There's not a one of you here that hasn't thought of it, hasn't dreamed about it, planned about it, yea, schemed about it. Many of us have been hurt in those relationships, dating, whatever, that lead up to it. It's the fireplace of life. You know, a home is a nice place to be. The fireplace is the place of warmth, the place of tenderness, the place of affection take place around that fireplace. In life, marriage, the romance, the passion of marriage, that's the spice, that's the beauty of living. God is Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. He has never been alone. He has eternally been communicable. That's why the idea of a monotheistic deity that is not Trinity, Allah as in Allah, that will leave you with a dictatorship, a God who is sovereign, who is infinite, eternal, but you are fuzzy on the tenderness and the what we would call those mannish qualities that He are eternally in God, that He visits on us in the image of God in man, of tenderness and love and communication and the desire to be loved. Those marvelous ideas of God. God is Trinity. Rightly did Francis Schaeffer say that if the Bible didn't teach Trinity, he would still have been an agnostic, because you would have not have had a reference point for those beauties of God, which are found in the triunity of His person. And He makes us in His image, and we long to love, and we long to be loved. From the moment that we are born, we are reaching outward. We are not natural hermits. We long for someone to reach out and touch us. It is not good for that man to be alone. And the most intimate of all relationships you can have are in the the differences of a man and a woman that mesh in all ways. It is marvelous. The two become one flesh. But it follows that anything that is that intimate is also something that can be the most deadly, painful, frightening relationship in your entire existence. As a matter of fact, you can implode a society by the implosion of a marriage and of a home. Immorality, breakups, aren't those a joy? To be going with somebody and then to be told, you're not the person, I don't want it to continue, that is painful. Being done wrong, being defrauded, divorce, abuse, alienation within marriage, that is a heartbreaking thing, and it filters down to the kids. Now, marriage is a deadly, horrific privilege that God gives us. It can be the charm of your life, or it can be the bane of your entire existence. And students, when your marriage is in trouble, you don't cordon it off into a little area. Which means it doesn't matter that if you have a high grade point, if you have a great job, if you make great money, if you've got great talents, if you are marvelously successful in what you do, when you come into a home that is rent and is in pain, I mean, it's red dye. It floods your entire existence. I want to ask you a question, and I want you to be honest. You don't have to look around. How many of you desperately want to have a marriage that is better than your parents? Would you raise your hand? If you want a marriage better than your parents, that's pretty good. How many of you, if your marriage is no better than your parents, it was good enough that if your marriage is no better than your parents, you will be wonderfully satisfied if it's only as good as your parents? Well, that's pretty good. I'm going to give you 5 things. I have watched marriages, I have counseled them, I've taught the Song of Solomon for years. I've worked in the pastorate now for almost 30 years, and I've seen them come and I've seen them go. And I have a marriage that is more good than bad, all right? Which is a great compliment to a marriage. I've got a wonderful union with a wonderful woman. I'm going to give you 5 things, and you can't be 4 out of 5 on these. You can't be 3 out of 5. You've got to be 5 out of 5. When these are resident in you, you are going to have a good marriage. I'm going to give you 5 things that have to take place between you and your future husband, you and your future wife. You have to be alerted to them right now. All right? I don't want to be dogmatic on this, but I'm the only one right. Because I have counseled the heartache that arises from the lack thereof.